Welcome back to my channel.
In this video, we are going to see how to install and configure DNS services in Windows 2016 server. Also, we will see how to configure forward and reverse lookup zones. Also, how to create host and pointer records in forward and reverse lookup zones. Also, we will test the DNS from client PC and also using NS lookup. For this demo, I am going to use this topology. I have used 3 Windows servers and 2 Windows PCs in this topology. In this first Windows server, I'm going to configure DNS services. Other 2 Windows servers, I already configured the web server. These 2 Windows PC, I'll configure it as DNS clients so that it can receive the DNS services from our DNS server. Okay, now we will go and configure the DNS services in our Windows server. For that, I'll open the Windows server first. To configure and install DNS services, we need Server Manager. To open the Server Manager, either click on Windows Start menu, and here we can click on the Server Manager, or you can go to Windows Command Prompt. Simply type the Server Manager. It will open the Server Manager console. Under the Server Manager Local Server tab, under Properties, we can see my computer name, that is my server name. I have configured as DNS server, and I already configured the IP address, static IP address for this DNS servers, 192.168.50.10. Before configuring and installing DNS services in the server, we have to assign static IP address. This is very important step. And now we'll go and configure and install the DNS services. For that, we'll move to dashboard. From the dashboard, we can click on the add roles and features, or we can go to manage tab. From there also we can click on the add roles and features. Now the wizard is open. Here you can see, before you continue, verify the following tasks. Here you can see we have to assign strong password to the PC administrator account, and mainly we have to give the static IP address. The static IP address we have already configured. Now click on next. Select installation type. Installation type should be role based. Click on next. Select destination server. Here we can see our server IP address, the static IP address it is showing. So click next. Next, select server roles. Here we have to select the DNS server. This pop-up window will appear. Add features that are required for DNS server. Click on add features, and then click on next. Click on next. Click on next. And click on install. It will take some time to install. Now installation succeeded, completed on the DNS server. I'll close this window. Here we can see DNS is successfully installed here. So far we have installed DNS services in Windows Server. Now we will see how to configure DNS services in Windows Server. To configure DNS services, we have to open the DNS management console. We can open it by two ways. Either we can open it from tools and click on DNS, or we can open it from command prompt. Type DNS mgmt.msc. It will open the management console, DNS management console. In the DNS management console, we can see the name of the server. This is DNS server, that is our server name. Here I will expand this. Here we can see the forward lookup zone. Forward lookup zone. In the forward lookup zone, we have to create a new zone. The zone is the domain namespace, DNS namespace. We have to create the namespace. To create the new zone, right click on the forward lookup zone and click on new zone. This wizard will open. Click on next. Here we can see the zone type. Here three types of zone you can see: primary, secondary, and stub zone. Now we are going to create the primary zone. Primary zone normally will be created in the first DNS server. It will create a copy of the zone that can be updated directly. We can create and modify anything on this server. That is a primary zone. The next one is secondary zone. If you already have primary zone, we can create the secondary zone in the different DNS server. It is the read-only copy of the primary zone. And the next one is stub zone. Okay, now we will create the primary zone. Click on next. We have to give the zone name. The zone name specifies the portion of the DNS namespace. So here I will give my YouTube channel name. You can give whatever you want. ItIdeas.com. Now zone file. The zone file will be created like this. The file name will be ItIdeas.com.dns. The location you can see here: system root, system 32, DNS. This is the location. Click on next. Dynamic update. By default, do not allow any dynamic updates. So I'll click on next. Now it is completing the new zone wizard. It is created. I'll click on finish. You can see here. Yeah, here we can see under forward lookup zone, the new zone is created, ItIdeas.com. Here SOA record and NS record is already available. Now we have to create a host record. So to create a host record, right click from here, click on new host. Here we have to give the host name. So I'll give www. It will be added as FQDN, fully qualified domain name. It will be included in our already created namespace. So IP address, I'll give 192.168.50.20 because our IP address is .10. The other two web server IP address is 20 and 30. So I'll give this IP address as 20. I'll click on add host. The host record www.com is already successfully created. Click OK. So I'll create one more file server. The host name is file server. So FQDN is fileserver.itideas.com. So I'll give the IP address 168.50.30. That is the another web server. Add host. Click OK. Now here we can see under ItIdeas.com, two host records are created. One is www, the another one is file server. And we will go to reverse lookup zone. Here also we will create the new zone. Right click from here, create new zone. Click on next. Here also we will create the primary zone type is primary. So click on next. So this one, zone name IPv4 reverse lookup zone. We are not going to create IPv6, so I will select IPv4. Click on next. Reverse lookup zone name. Zone name, we can give it our network ID. So the first three octet I will give 192.168.50. Click on next. Zone file is created. The reverse order. The file location we can see system32 DNS. Click on next. Dynamic update, do not allow by default. Click on next. Now it is created the new zone, the reverse lookup zone. So as we did in forward lookup zone, we will create some record here. So to create the new record, I'll right click here. We will create one pointer record, new pointer. The host IP address, I'll give 20. That is one of my web server IP address. Host name, I know I'm not going to type here. We can browse it from the forward lookup zone, what we have already created. Here we can see this one. This one is the 20. So I will select this one. Click OK. And I will create one more pointer record. That is 30. The host name from the DNS server forward lookup zone. I will map it to this one. This one is a 30 fileserver.com. Click OK. Now we can see the host record, pointer record is created in the reverse lookup zone. Now we will see how to test these things, how it will work. We will see now. Okay, now we can test this by two ways. Either we can test it from the DNS server itself. So I'll go to DNS server. You click on the DNS server name and right click. Here, click on launch NS lookup. This NS lookup will open. Here we can test the server address. You can see 192.168.50.10. Here also in the topology, we can see DNS server IP address is 168.50.10. The other two web servers I have configured in 50.20 and 50.30. Now we will check. Okay, now I'll type the domain name of the web server one, www.ItIdeas.com. Here we can see the domain name resolved into IP address. Here you can see the IP address of the domain name. So it's a forward lookup. When the forward lookup, when you give the domain name, it will resolve the IP address. The same way I will type fileserver.itideas.com. Here also you can see we given the domain name, it resolved into IP address. So forward lookup is working. Now we will check the reverse lookup. We'll give the IP address of the web server 1, 50.20. Yeah, here you can see we given the IP address, it resolved into domain name. The same way we can check the other web server IP address. Yeah, we given the IP address, it resolved it to domain name. So forward lookup also working and reverse lookup also working here. So now what we will do, we will go to the client PC. We will check whether it is working or not. Okay, now I will open the first PC, this Windows 5 PC. I'll go to command prompt, to check the IP configurations. Here we can check the IP address of this PC is 50.101, and here we can see the DNS server. It is configured with preferred DNS server as 192.168.50.10. That is our DNS server address. So now we will check whether this PC has a connectivity with DNS server and other web servers also. We'll quickly check that. Ping 192.168.50.10. This is our DNS server IP address. It is working. And now we'll check with the web server IP address. Yeah, it is having the connectivity. Other web server also we will check. It is having the connectivity. Okay, now I will open the web browser. We will check the DNS, whether the DNS is working here. Okay, I'll type the domain name and the website address of this web server here, www.itideas.com. Okay, I'll type here. Yeah, and now it is working from the client PC, and I'll open the other tab also. File server dot ItIdeas.com. We'll check whether it is working. Yeah, it is also working. So from the PC1 it is working, and the same way we will check from the PC2. Okay, now quickly we will check from the other PC also, this Windows 6. Here you can see the IP configurations. The IP address is 102, and we will check the connectivity also. Yeah, with DNS server it is working, and with other web server we'll check it's working, and other web server it is working. Now I will open the web browser. I'll type the domain name www.itideas.com. Yes, it is working, and we'll check the other domain name also. File server.itideas.com. Yeah, this is also working now. So far we have seen how to configure and install DNS services in Windows 2016 server. Also, we have seen how to configure forward lookup zone and reverse lookup zone in Windows server. And also we have tested the same from DNS client's PC. That's all for today.
Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel.